Hey everybody, welcome back to the Time Pass podcast. This is your host, Ashika. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. If you haven't done so already, please like me on Facebook at Time Pass Podcast. Follow me on Instagram at timepass_podcast and check out the YouTube channel where you can watch all the episodes of the Time Pass podcast. If you are an auditory listener, wherever you are tuning into podcasts, please make sure that you are followed, or subscribed on your listening platform of choice. You can also find the Time Pass podcast on Ruckus Avenue Radio on Sundays. Tune in wherever you want. We're out there. We out here, folks. We out here. All right, you guys. I apologize. To be fair, I did tell you guys that I probably wasn't going to put out a show last week because I was going to be out of town. And now I get to talk about everything that happened while I was out of town. So, I apologize. I just couldn't get my shit together, y'all. I know I say this a lot, but it's because it's true. I'm busy. I tried, you guys. I really did. I tried to record before I left so I could have something out there for you, but I just couldn't get it together between the packing and the working and the different things I had to do. So I apologize. There was no new show last week, but there was an episode that aired on Ruckus Avenue Radio, so you could have caught me there, or you could have caught up to older episodes that you haven't heard yet. But the reason there was no show is because I was having the time of my life back in the Big Easy. Oh, how I love New Orleans, you guys. This is my second time there, and if you have not gone, please go. I love that town so much. Every time I go, it's something new. I also enjoy doing things that I've done already, especially on this trip, and we'll get there. But the culture, the music, I always have music playing, right? Even in the office, at home, literally my TV's on music right now and it's muted. I always have music playing. It's just how I roll. The history, the architecture, the melting pot of people, it's so amazing, and I had such a great time. So this trip, now Fabian the bestie did not go with me, although he was invited. This trip came about because, as I have mentioned before on this show, I have a huge family. Mom has 9 brothers and sisters, and Dad has 12 brothers and sisters. And on Mom's side, there's a cousin of mine, me and my brother and him and his brother, the 4 of us are kind of really tight. And me and this one cousin, the older brother, we vacation together before. He is a traveler like me, and so when when I would tell him oh yeah, I went here or whatever, he's like, TFTI, let me know next time. So I would start inviting him, hey, I'm going here if you want to go. And he's gone to Mexico with Fabian and I twice now. He's come here to visit me multiple times, especially when his dad was still alive and living here in Sacramento. So we're kind of tight, and we travel well together. We mesh well together. Our personalities mesh well together. And so we were talking because we always have a good time, and the 4 of us keep in touch pretty regularly, and we're pretty tight. I'm the only girl in the group, I know. And then they'll do their own thing. His younger brother was just here visiting me a couple months ago, and he's just hey, I'm in town, come. And so it's no time has passed anytime we're together. They'll go down and visit my brother in Southern California when they can, and they'll always invite me, and I've actually never gone when they've been down south because it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. But so we were all talking, and he was let's do a cousins reunion, which is a lot of people. It's a lot of people. And we started getting this together. It took months. So we started planning this out last year, probably last summer, end of summer-ish, I want to say. Yeah. and it was like polling people, talking to people. With a huge Brown family, like not everybody is like super familiar with everybody. Not everybody talks to everybody. Like, you know, I don't know. Sometimes, you know, Brown people, they have their beef, like whatever. But we wanted to just, you know, just cousins, no, you know, parents, no aunts and uncles, just cousins get together and just enjoy each other again, because we always have a good time when we all get together, if it's somebody's wedding or something like that. So after all this, it was a lot. I'm telling you now, it was a lot of coordinating and a lot of opinions. But in the end, out of, I don't even know, there's like almost 30 of us. There were 4 of us that went on this trip to New Orleans. So, you know, we still had a fantastic time, and it was a great time. But here's the thing, right? Like, you guys know I like traveling alone. I actually really enjoy being able to do what I want and explore and just be on my own timetable. I don't mind traveling with Fabian because he's so easy and we travel so similarly. And same thing with my cousin, who I have traveled with as well. You know, he's so easy to travel with and he's easygoing, and we have similar interests and things like that, and similar personalities a little bit too. He can have, well, he doesn't. He's very quiet, but not really. It's a facade. Anyway, so I decided that I was going to be the first one to fly in, and my plan was to get in. I took a 5 a.m. flight because I was like, I'm out of here and I want to enjoy my time before like all the people come in and we have like activities. You know, we had tours planned, dinners planned, things like that, because, you know, it's supposed to be family bonding. And so I was supposed to land at like 1 o'clock and then have all afternoon into the early evening until my cousin was gonna land around 6, and then we would probably meet up around 7. My plans got thwarted because my flight got delayed, so I didn't end up getting in and checked into my hotel till like 5, because I came in right during traffic hour on Thursday to New Orleans, and from Louis Armstrong Airport to like the French Quarter, which is where I decided to stay, is, you know, a good like 30-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute ride with after work traffic. No ma'am, it was ridiculous. So by the time I get in, I like to unpack, right? I came in early. We were there for 4 nights, so I like to unpack. I like to put my shoes out and put my pajamas out, put all my hair care and all my skincare products out in my room. Like, I just want to be prepared for my time. I want to feel comfortable. So by the time I did all that, put my feet up for a little bit, freshened up, changed clothes, and rested, my cousin was like, hey, are you ready yet? I'm ready. And I was like, yeah, meet me at my hotel. So all my cousins stayed at the Roosevelt? Is it the Roosevelt? Yeah, they stayed at the Roosevelt. And I stayed at the Astor Crowne Plaza, which was like a 4-minute walk. But I kind of liked having a little bit of separation. I don't know. It was close, but not so close. But I just didn't know what to expect with the group. And so I wanted a buffer a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted a buffer. And so I tell him, hey, meet me in my hotel. I'll be downstairs at the bar, because like, it's really what I wanted to do. I want to get in, I want to have a drink, I want to eat like this. And I'm like, I'm starving, we need to eat. And so he's like, okay. So I go down to the bar. Beautiful bar, by the way. It's called, it's part of the restaurant called Bourbon House. And I highly recommend this bar and this restaurant. So I go in and I sit down at the bar, and this lovely lady is working there. And she was really nice to me. And I ordered this drink. Do not order this drink. It had mezcal and tequila, which is like right up my alley. And I'm like, yes, I want that. But then it had like some weird chocolate bitters, and then it also had this weird liqueur in it that was not good. And the lady, the young lady, she was making the drink and she was concocting it, and it was very precise because it's a craft cocktail. And there's this guy sitting next to me, and he's like, "What did you order? It looks like a science experiment." And I'm like, "I don't know." It sounded good. It's like the spirits that I like mezcal, tequila, can't go wrong. She made like a cute little salt and tahini rim. It was the nastiest drink I've ever had in my entire life. I wanted to like it. I was like, okay, first sip, not bad, but I don't want my tequila to taste like chocolate. It was so weird, you guys. Oh, it was a pimento liqueur. Pimento, from olives. Think about that. It was gross. Mezcal, tequila, pineapple, pimento liqueur, which is really pungent, topped off with chocolate bitters, and then a salt and tahini rim. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. It was called Devil's Playground or something like that. And I was like, yes, give me that drink. No, don't get it. Anyway, Olivia. Olivia was super sweet, and she ended up making me another drink. By that time, I made friends with the dude next to me. He started talking to me about where to go do stuff, and I was like, yeah, I've been here before. He was there for business. My cousin shows up. And we sit there, we have another round with Olivia. I'm like, hey, we're hungry, so we really want oysters. I'm a huge oysters gal. Y'all know this. My cousin, not so much, but because we were where we were, he was like, I'm down to try. And I feel like he's every now and then oysters, but not like me. If there's oysters available, I want them. And so we went to Pier 424 because you can get oysters anywhere. I could have gone around the corner into the restaurant of Bourbon House, and they have some of the best oysters also. Acme Oysters is really popular down there, and Oceana is really popular. A lot of celebrities go to Oceana. So the last time when I was in New Orleans in 2020, I did go to Oceana. I don't know. I don't even remember what I had at Oceana when I went in 2020. I don't know. But I did go, so I wanted to go somewhere else. So we went to 424, Pier 424, and we had oysters again. It was delicious, oysters. And then I had the crawfish etouffee, which is a dish that New Orleans is known for. So if you're down there, have that. I can't remember what my cousin had. I think he just had the oysters. He's not a big eater, where me, if I don't eat, I'm gonna get messed up, really bad. So I have to eat. So I like the crawfish etouffee because it had rice in it. So it's it gives me a good base for what I knew was gonna happen. And boy, was I so glad we did that. So we had margaritas there, great margaritas, great staff, fresh oysters, crawfish etouffee, delicious. And I was talking to the bartender, and I was like, hey, where should we go? And then, I'm a karaoke whore. I love to karaoke. I just do. And I was like, my cousin's like, where do you want to go? And I was like, let's go karaoke. He's like, I'm in, let's go. So we go to this place that the bartender recommended, which is called the Cat's Meow, which is down on Bourbon Street. Here's the thing about Bourbon Street on a Thursday night. I loved it. Now, I was there all weekend. Thursday night, Bourbon Street, I could hang out on Bourbon Street on Thursday night. Friday night, Saturday night on Bourbon Street, get me the hell away from there. I don't want to. They're youngins. I swear to God, they're 15-year-olds on Bourbon Street. It's overcrowded. You can't get around. It's just not worth it. So I would suggest that you really do Bourbon Street proper on a Thursday night. Especially I felt on Thursday the crowd was older, a little more local. Versus Friday, Saturday, you get all the tourists in, and it's just out of control. But Bourbon Street isn't really local. You'll get some locals, but not a whole lot. So the Cat's Meow is known for their karaoke. We go there, having more margaritas. I put my name up immediately. They didn't have any of my songs, my go-to song. So I was mad. And then the host was like, go ask the DJ. Maybe he'll like play it for you. Like he may have it if I don't have it on my list. And I went to ask the DJ and he's like, no, we're not playing that. It's so mad. It's like, what? So, you know, my cousin gets around. I get around. I sing. He finally finds a song that he wants to sing. And so he puts his name up. And he's like, I'll be right back. I'm like, okay, like I have a full margarita, you know? And he comes back with 4 margaritas, like here. So now I have like 1 and then 2, and he's got 2. And I'm like, shit. And that is how our night got down. Like that's how our night got down. It was so much fun. He sang a great song. He was super popular with everybody. We talked to people there. A lot of people go to the Cat's Meow for like bachelor and bachelorette parties. A lot of bachelorette parties were happening in there. Women were singing. It was fun. And I like that place because they have plenty of bathrooms. Like I went to the bathroom downstairs and it was closed. And one of the staff was like, go upstairs. And I'm like, what? And he's like, go upstairs. Nobody's even up there. And I'm like, what? I went upstairs and there's like all these bathrooms and like another bar. I'm like, oh shit. Like, okay. And that's the thing again that I love about Thursdays is like you can walk around and still talk to people and make connections. And so I had it in my brain. Once he sang and I sang, I was like, let's go. I'm over this place. There was this bar Tonique, that I was looking for because I had heard really good things about the cocktails there. Y'all, I'm a craft cocktail connoisseur, okay? I want to try it. And which is why I got stuck having that Devil's Playground bullshit at the Bourbon House. That was not good. So I'm like, let's go. And I'm navigating. I'm plenty of margaritas in, plus the crap I had at Bourbon House. And so I'm like, okay, navigating. And we're just walking all through the quarter. And then somehow, so one of my cousins really wanted to go to Pat O'Brien's, which is known for their hurricanes. And we're walking around, and I'm like, oh, hey, look, it's Pat O'Brien's. I'm like, this is where our cousin wants to go tomorrow night. And he's like, let's go in. I'm like, let's go in. Pat O'Brien's is amazing. It's like 4 different bars, like 3 bars in the front, and then a patio area in the back, dueling pianos. There's a jukebox in the front, like any vibe you want, like you just go into that room. So we walk in and our server was the cutest old man. His name was Joe and he had been working there for 25 years. He was so sweet. I feel like Joe got in trouble for like not working and just talking to us. Also, like I'm a talker, and so is my cousin when he's like buzzed. So we were talking Joe's ear off, and he's like, "You want a hurricane?" And I'm like, "Joe, no, I'm not trying to get fucked up. Like I've been drinking margaritas. I want a margarita." And he's like, "I got just what you need." He comes back with this drink, and he's like, "It's our margarita topped with a hurricane." Oh my god. It was good. A little sweet, right? Because the hurricane's really sweet. So it was a little sweet, but we both had one and it was good. We had a great time standing there talking to Joe. And then I'm like, we gotta go find this bar. Like, it's just one of those nights when you're on this mission. So we go looking for this bar, and then we run into this country bar called Boot Scootin'. And I'm like, let's go in the country bar, right? I've got my boots on. Like, I'm gonna do this. So I walk in, and we walk in, and it's pretty dead. We grab a round of drinks, and then there's a whole big ass dance floor because they do like line dancing there. And so I talked to the DJ, and I'm like, hey, what, do you guys don't teach line dancing? And he's like, we do on this night and this night. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, who teaches it? And he's like, I do. And I'm like, teach you how to dance to this song. And it's like slow. So he's like, okay, he just puts the song on and then comes and starts giving us a line dancing lesson. Oh my God, we had the best time there. And then again, in my mind, I'm like, hey, we gotta go find this bar. Oh my God, we never found Bar Tonique, but we were up and down almost every corner of Bourbon Street. I think at one point I was like, I can't. We need to go here. Let's take an Uber. We took an Uber to go like around the block because I wasn't like, it wasn't like calculating in my brain anymore. But that first night was so fun because me and my cousin just like did whatever, you know. It was just like, it's like when you're trying to find a place but you keep getting distracted by other places. You're like, let's go in there, let's go in there. Oh my god. The end of the night, he walks me to my hotel. He goes back to on his little merry way, and we have the next day, and people start to come in. One of our cousins came in. She took a red eye, so she was in Friday morning early, so we decided to go to brunch, and I had heard great things about this place in the Garden District called Atchafalaya. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to link everything in my show notes as per usual. It's this cute little house. We didn't have to wait much. There wasn't much of a wait on Friday morning. We went in. Everything that everybody had was so good, y'all. I had a duck hash. Oh my god. My cousin, she ordered these strawberry waffles that were just like light as a feather. My other cousin ordered, I can't remember what he ordered. What did he order? He ordered something with eggs. I didn't try any of his. I had her waffle, and that's why I'm like, it was good. But I didn't try any of his because the hash was so good. We had mimosas all around, which I love mimosas, but they had grapefruit juice, and I like a grapefruit juice mimosa when I can get one. And then we just decided, our other cousin was bringing along a friend. They weren't coming in till much later. So since we took an Uber out to the Garden District from the corner, I was like, hey, why don't we just like hang out in the Garden District? One, it's more local. I like. Two, like it has cute places. And so I saw this bar called Tracy's, which was like an Irish pub, and I was like, let's go there. And so we start walking, which is fun to like walk off your brunch and take in the scenery because the homes in the Garden District, Lord, I want to live at like all of them. They're so beautiful. But we walk and we come across this tavern, and it's Bulldog Tavern, and I used to have a bulldog. So I was like, pit stop, we're stopping in here. We go in there, grab a couple drinks, and let me tell you about this place. It's cute. It has a cute patio in the back. The inside's really divey and taverny. But I was so offended because they're called Bulldog Tavern, yet all the photos on the wall inside are of not bulldogs. I'm calling bullshit. Anyway, cute place. Had a good time there. I ended up striking up a conversation with this guy who's a bartender, and the whole reason this started is because he was asking for Fernet. Like, bartenders drink Fernet. Like, nobody really likes that shit. Speaking from experience. And so I was like, they're not going to carry that here for you. So we start talking. And he turns out to be from Southern California, not far from where I was born and raised. And so he's like, where are you going? What are you doing? And so I'm like, hey, we're going to go down to Tracy's. And he's like, yeah, go down there. If you go hang a right and go down another 2 blocks, there's another cool little Irish pub too. And I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. We take off. We go to Tracy's. Tracy's? Go to Tracy's. Okay? They had 2 slushie machines. And I'm not a slushie gal. I'm not a frozen drink gal. But it was hot. And I was wearing a turtleneck. I was wearing my black turtleneck. And it was a long walk. It was a bit of a walk. Especially after you've been drinking. I'm like, how much further is Tracy's? But, so we walk in and I'm like, what's in the machines? To the bartender. And one was, I don't know what, but the other one was like a salsa jalapeno margarita. And I was like, done. When I tell you that I got drunk off of those margaritas in like 2 hours, here's the thing. The cousin we were waiting for to fly in was sharing a room with my gal cousin who had brunch with us that morning, who had just flown in. So she had already checked in and had the room key, so she needed to meet her at the hotel when she came in. So she's like, okay, we don't have a lot of time. Like, we'll just kill another hour, and then we gotta head back to the corner. And we're like, okay, cool. So we're drinking, and me and my guy cousin, we're like drinking. We're like, okay, we'll have another, just regular pace. And then our cousin who just flew in is like, oh my God, I can't get an Uber. Because we're thinking, 2 drinks, and we're like, all right, we gotta go. And she texts us like, I can't get an Uber. It's taking forever. Da-da-da. And my cousin's like, we have time for one more. And I'm like, yeah, one more. So we get one more. And then we're like, all right, we gotta go. And then she texts and she's like, I'm in a line for a cab now, but there's a long line. So, okay. And we're like, sounds like we got time for one more. And I'm like, yeah, one more. And then she sends us a picture of her in the cab line. And we're like, we got time for one more. You guys, we one-moored it like 5 times. And I was feeling so good. So good. We got day drunk, okay? Like, we so got day drunk. We met the cutest girl there. I was trying to hook her up with my cousin, but she was really sweet. And I don't know why people do this when I go places, but they always assume I'm a local. Like, she's like, oh, where are y'all from? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, okay, so, and where do you live? Because you're from here, right? And I'm like, yeah. I told her later that I wasn't from there. But she was so sweet, and I actually ended up talking to her again outside, just recommending places to go and trying to hang out. But she was super sweet, super sweet gal. And my cousin got jealous because I got a hug and he didn't. But then he ended up getting a hug. So anyway, so we finally make it back to the hotel. These girls are checking in. Me and my cousin are at the bar. We're like, hey, let's go grab dinner. We have to eat because it's been hours since we had brunch. And there's a band playing in the lobby, and they have like this singer and like this band. And I go and I tell the bartender, and they all want to serve you doubles. Like, everywhere you go, they're like, you want a double? You want a double? And so I ordered like tequila with soda, like soda water or whatever. And he's like, you want a double? I'm like, sure. And he's like, whatever. And he's like, I'm going to give you a triple. He did not need to do that. He really did not. And my cousin and I are just drinking out there. And I'm like, hold on, I'll be back. I go up to the band. They're on a break. I didn't interrupt their set. And I'm like, hey, do you guys know this song? And it was my karaoke song from the night before that the DJ wouldn't let me sing. And the singer goes, actually, I knew that song. I could play it for you. And I was like, will you play? Will you let me sing? And she's like, yeah, we'll let you sing. She's like, can you sing it? And I was like, yeah, I can sing it. Yeah. I just made my own little karaoke in the hotel lobby. The good thing is I know this song really well, and I think I sound okay singing it. And so I actually sang the whole song. And the band was really, really pleased, and it was nice because I had people coming up to me afterwards saying they liked it. So that was really nice. It was a fun little moment for me. Again, I probably would have never done that sober, but drunk me, I'm like, let me make something happen for myself here. So then we decide that we're actually gonna go see Olivia back at Bourbon House and actually have dinner there because they're known to have good oysters and good food. So we go there to have dinner. We ordered oysters. Okay, this Friday is really foggy for me. So we ordered oysters. I remember sitting there complaining because I'm spoiled and I always go have oysters with Fabian, and Fabian, like, he just knows how to dress the oysters perfectly. So I always let him do it. He just does it. He puts a little bit of everything on it. We're not picky eaters, him and I, so we both know, like, okay, everything goes. And I'm just not used, like, I can do it, but it's because I was, like, drunk. I was like, I'm not eating any oysters because they're not dressed. I threw the biggest fit. But anyway, so the oysters were delicious. I can't remember what I had for food, but whatever it was, I think it was good. And I had to call it a night after dinner because I got dangerously drunk on Friday night. Like it was a good thing I was at my hotel. It was a good time though. And it was a good thing that I called it an early night because we had an early day. So Saturday, everybody wanted to do a plantation tour and a swamp tour. I have done both before when I went in 2020. So I signed up through Viator.com. Check it out. It was a really good deal. It was $119 for a plantation and swamp tour, but not just any plantation. Oak Alley Plantation, which is like the motherlode of plantations, in my opinion. I think it's the best plantation in that area. It has a lot of history. It's been on a lot of movies. You'll recognize it from like Interview with the Vampire, things like that. They have a beautiful cafe that serves delicious jambalaya and gumbo. Sorry, gumbo. That's my favorite thing there. And also, this is the place that I had gone in 2020. I did an episode on it, so you can go back and hear it. But this is the place where the manager of the gift shop gave me their prototype of their snow globe because I was looking for snow globes. And it was pre-Katrina, and it was the only prototype they had. They never had snow globes made. And because I told her that I was looking for a snow globe because my daughter collects them, because when I travel, that's what I like to bring home to her to inspire her to travel. She just went in the back room and found it and gave it to me. She wouldn't even let me pay her for it. So I almost feel like I own, I'm staring at it right now, like I own a piece of Oak Alley history a little bit. It has the date on the bottom, so you can actually see like it's pre-Katrina era, and the music wasn't put in yet. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So it's the only snow globe my daughter has that isn't in her room. I'm like, this is like a shared one, okay? And it's a conversation piece, so I like to keep it in my family room on the shelf in the bookshelves, because people's eyes will travel to it, and it's a good story for me to share. So we did that. We woke up early. Viator.com, using the Gray Line bus tours. I'll link them again. Really super simple. We showed up on time, 15 minutes before you're supposed to leave, which we're supposed to leave by 9, so 8:45. Get on the bus. They check you in. Everything, is done on your phone. Like I had QR codes for us, so it all worked out. And they took us to the plantation first. And the thing I liked about it is when you just show up to the plantation by yourself, you have to make sure you purchase the right tour. So because they don't let everybody do the home tour and see everything upstairs and downstairs. So we had the full home tour, had a mint julep while I was there, which I love. And then we all had lunch at the cafe. So I got to introduce my family to the jambalaya there and the gumbo there. Keep saying jambalaya, the gumbo there, which I love. So the last time I was there, I believe that property is really haunted. I had a completely different experience. Go back and listen to the episode from October 2020 if you want to hear about the experience I had the first time there. But it was interesting to me to see my other cousin's experiences, and my guy cousin, he actually saw stuff. Like he saw ghosts, and he actually captured an image of, if you look at it, you can make it out as a face in the window of the mansion. And he sent it around via text after the fact. But so he saw something. My other cousin, she just felt a certain heaviness, which is what I felt the minute I turned onto the road last time when I went, that heaviness in my chest. So I think it's a super historical property with a really dark past. But they do a good job of sharing the story of the slaves that were there and the lives they lived and the torture, their names. They have this whole exhibit. So it's definitely worth it, and I would recommend going there. I did find the gift shop manager, Donna, again, because I just had to say hi to her, and she actually remembered me. So that was nice. So I gave her a hug and we said hi, and then she told me, because of that whole interaction that we had, they're actually now looking at getting snow globes again for the plantation. So I'm excited. I'm excited to know that maybe I had a little hand in that. So that's really exciting. And then from there, we went to the swamp tours. I believe it's the Cajun Swamp Tour place. This place was like night and day going back because one of the last hurricanes they had wiped it out. So it had this giant like gift shop that you would go in and you could buy snacks and drinks for the boat ride. And then it had this giant covered picnic area where you could hang out before and after, all blown away by the hurricane. It was unrecognizable to me. They're set up in trailers. Still an awesome swamp ride. Still an awesome tour. Had a great time. And definitely worth it just to see the wildlife on the bayou. After that, we headed back to the quarter and I had made dinner reservations at my favorite restaurant, Saffron Nola, which is Indian food with a very New Orleans infused twist. I've never had Indian food like this before in my entire life. And I've had Indian food everywhere that I go normally, even India, multiple regions of India. Hands down, this is my favorite restaurant in New Orleans. I wanted to introduce my cousins to it. We went there, awesome drinks, awesome service, awesome food, never disappoints. I highly recommend you check it out. After that, the cousins who had just gotten, obviously, they wanted to do Bourbon Street the proper way. And I felt bad since I had to dip on Friday night. So we took them around Bourbon Street on Friday, went to Pat O'Brien's, did a lot of that. I would just say it's so hectic. It wasn't an enjoyable experience for me because like we lost them a couple times. Like people kept getting separated from the crowd, and I am just that kind of person that I felt, number one, I felt bad because I dipped on them their first night. And number two, I feel responsible because nobody else had been there except for me. And so I was just like, my body gets to this point where it doesn't matter how much alcohol I have, I'm sober. And so because people were, losing track of people, for me, Saturday night was just not as fun. Because I feel like I was keeping track of people and trying to have a good time in the meanwhile, but just trying to show my cousins around and make sure that they had a good time. And then I ended up convincing everybody to go down to Frenchman Street, which is really where the locals hang out, and a fun time. And I was able to have a little more fun there. It was great. I met some people at this bar, the Rambler, which was fun. And then we went into this other bar to hang out, but everybody was kind of done at a certain point, so we called it a night. Sunday was nice because it was really easy going. We just went to brunch at Monty's. I like Monty's. It's on Jackson Square, and it serves breakfast all day. And I mean, we didn't get out there till like 1, so it was nice to be able to have that. And then it's nice because my cousins, I know they wanted to see the waterfront, the Mississippi River, and Jackson Square is just beautiful, and there's a lot of stores and shopping. There's a lot of stuff happening in the square. The church is there, so it's beautiful. So I took them into the church and walked around the square, took them to the waterfront. And then they have like this row of like psychics and tarot readers. And so my cousins wanted to get that done. I got mine done as well. So that was a lot of fun. And then they wanted to shop and explore. So for me, it's like, I don't do that. I don't really spend my money on souvenirs or shopping. I usually buy like one thing for my mom, one thing for my daughter, and that's it. I don't bring home things for myself, really, because I choose to spend my money on the experiences while I'm there. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go hang out in this bar. What am I going to do? And I'll catch up with me later. So we did that. We had a nice little dinner that night afterwards. In the Roosevelt Hotel, at their hotel, which has a nice little oyster bar as well. So we had oysters, and I had the best salad. I had a Caesar salad, and it was so good down there. And my bartender friend who served me the triple, so it's now his 3rd time seeing me, he was working the kitchen, so he hooked us up on the oysters. So that was fun. And then besides that, I really had to take it easy on Sunday because I had a early morning flight out Monday morning. So I basically called it a night after our ghost tour. That was the last thing we did on Sunday after dinner. We did a little ghost tour, which I recommend. Ghost City Tours is fun. I've also taken it with a different company. You can do several ghost tours down there, but it's fun. It's nice to hear the history and some of the horrible things that have happened in New Orleans, and you get to find out why it's actually called one of the most haunted cities in the world. So it's a lot of fun, and I would highly recommend it. I had a great time in New Orleans. I would definitely go back. I would recommend that if you are older and don't want to hang out with a bunch of teeny boppers, don't do Bourbon Street, especially on a Friday or Saturday. Do it on like a Thursday because it's just so much better. Easier to get in and out of places and actually have conversations with people and meet people. So I would recommend that. And I don't know. I had an amazing time. And that's where I was last week. That's why you had no show last week. I'm sorry, I was boozing it up in the Big Easy and eating all the yummy food. Sorry, not sorry. Have you ever been to New Orleans? Would you like to go? Let me know, time passers. That's all I've got for you today. As always, I talked about a lot of establishments. I will link each and every one on the show notes. So please check out timepasspodcast.com. Click on the show notes if you want to check out all the establishments and the hotels that we stayed at and the restaurants we ate at, the tours we took, because I will link everything. And that's all I've got for you today, you guys. If you haven't done so already, please like me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I think that's everywhere I am. YouTube, like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to check me out on Ruckus Avenue Radio. That's another way that you can tune in to the Time Pass podcast. And if you are a fan of the show, do me a favor and share the show. If you have somebody you're like, we should go to New Orleans, I've been talking about going to New Orleans, share this episode with them, and then they will want to go because it's amazing. It's amazing. Share the show with one person. I would greatly appreciate it. It's the best thing you could do for me. Stay authentic in whatever you do, you guys, and I will see you next time.